Hey guys, Danny Johnson here with a little Mach 1 update. And so basically what I'm doing is pulling the transmission. And so I have a full video on how to do this, and I'll put the link to that in the video description. And what I'm doing is just putting in a new clutch fork, pivot ball, and removing some counterweights that are on the center force clutch. So that's the reason it's up in the air, and that's what we're doing. So, so you can see I got everything ready to go here. We got the shifters out. And then underneath we got the exhaust removed and the starters out. Transmission bolts are pretty much all the way out. Clutch cable disconnected. Everything that I'm going to need to do to pull the transmission. I have the transmission jack in place. And so I'm going to stop here because I don't even have the parts yet. They haven't shown up yet, so I'm not going to disconnect it any further at this point. But my next step is to take the rear transmission mount and drop that down, and that gives you the perfect access to those top bolts for the transmission. So the rest of the transmission bolts are out or loosened, and so all I have to do is just kind of drop that rear transmission mount down and get to those top two bolts. What I'm doing this time that's a little different is I've left the drive shaft in, and I've just dropped it down there at the back, so it's just sitting on a blanket. And so the whole point is to just be able to separate the transmission, pull it back, get in there, change the clutch fork and the throwout bearing, and the center force counterweights, all that kind of thing, and then just slide it back. So I'm not going to drop the transmission all the way out and drain the fluid and everything like that. There's really no point for that. So it's kind of a quicker way of doing it, and so I'll keep you guys updated and just show you how it goes. But from here, we're ready to drop that transmission. So I'll put a few clips here on the counterweights that I'm removing for the center force clutch. I think they're just kind of getting in the way as well, with causing some vibrations and things like that. So anyway, go ahead and put in the comments if you have any questions, and thanks for watching. So here's the center force clutch as it's moving, looking through the transmission window, and for the clutch fork, and you can just tell it looks like it's somewhat out of balance. Maybe it's okay. None of the weights had fallen off, but I'm just going to go ahead and remove them. As I rev it up, you can kind of see it move back and forth, and I'm thinking that might be what's kind of giving me some vibrations at different RPM. So anyway, that's just kind of a thought. And my cousin, I installed the same clutch on his. He got a bad vibration. We cut these weights off and everything was good. So kind of going along those lines with it, and at the same time I disconnected the clutch fork at this point. The cable was not connected, and the car also seemed to be a little bit smoother, so maybe it's also just the bad clutch fork where it's a little loose. The pivot ball, I think, is actually new from the transmission. I was looking at pictures of when the rebuilt transmission came in, and so it might have a new pivot ball on it, but we're going to change it all out anyway, just to make sure everything's good. And so I'll go ahead and show you a little picture here too. For those who are curious, you cannot remove these weights when the transmission, when it's still in the car like this. I tried taking them out, and you can clip the little wire and you can move them, but they won't come out because the throwout bearing's in the way. So anyway, thanks for watching.